Now that I've finished my project, I feel very different, and I can explain what this difference feels like. So, previously, I have been struggling and I've been putting in so much effort to try to become a back-end software engineer. And I kind of felt like I was just spinning my wheels. And now, obviously, I was making a huge amount of progress. I was learning a ton. I was getting exposure to all of these different systems and technologies and frameworks, and I was building the skills that I need to become a backend software engineer. But I was not even at the starting line yet. I was doing all of this preparation, but I hadn't even gotten to the starting line yet. And it was kind of just like, okay, I haven't even sent out a single application. Well, okay, actually I sent out like what, two applications and got denied, but essentially I had not sent out any applications and I knew that I wasn't qualified and I was just like, ah, okay. I'm not too like even though using my brain I can tell like yes, I am making progress. Yes, I am moving forward. I didn't feel it. I didn't feel like, okay, well, I'm actually doing something meaningful. My hard work is actually having any result. But now that I've done my project, I'm actually starting to apply because now I have something that's actually there. I can say like, yes, here, here is my project. Here's verifiable evidence that I do have the skills, XYZ skills that this job is asking for. And now that I've started to apply, it feels so much different because now there's actually a probability. There's a probability that I get a callback. There's a probability that I get a job. Whereas previously the probability was zero 'cause you miss every shot that you don't take, right? And again, at that point, it makes perfect sense that I didn't go and start just applying because I wasn't ready. I didn't have the evidence to verify that yes, I do have those skills. Whereas now it's like, okay, here's my evidence, and now that I'm applying, even if I think that the probability is kind of low, at least there is a probability. And even more importantly, the more I learn, the more I improve my projects, the more I move forward in my own back-end software engineering journey, the higher that probability is. So previously it was at just 0.0000000%, right? It was just flatlined at zero, even though I was putting in all of this effort. Now, all of a sudden, it kind of scales with my effort. So I put in a ton of effort this week and my probability goes up. And then it stays at that new higher probability. It's like, whoa, okay, that's kind of cool. Then next week I put in more effort and the probability goes up again. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, here we go. So that's one of the big changes that I'm feeling now that I started sending out some applications. So I'm like, okay, all right, now there's actually some chance. That's pretty cool. So I just wanted to make this kind of short video documenting my progress and some of the internal thoughts and feelings that I'm having in this journey. The other thing that I found kind of interesting is I have not applied for jobs in earnest since I got my current job. And when I was applying a long time ago, it was about what, 2 years ago, I had no work experience. I had no engineering experience. I was fresh out of school with my electrical engineering degree and just getting rejected and rejected and rejected over and over and over. And it was like I knew that I didn't have any skills. There was no way that it was like I was getting rejected and I couldn't even be upset that I was rejected because I was like, yeah, okay, that yeah, it kind of makes sense. Whereas now it feels kind of weird because I'm looking at my resume and I don't feel like incompetent anymore. I see essentially 2 years of work experience as an embedded systems engineer. I'm like, oh, okay. Like looking at this resume, it doesn't look like someone who's completely unqualified anymore. I'm I'm like, I don't know, that's a weird feeling because I've always previously I was very much just like I I didn't feel confident in myself or my own abilities, and now that there's this huge shift that I'm like, yeah, I feel qualified. I feel like I am an engineer. I have verifiable evidence, 2 years of experience. Now, it's not software development, but it's troubleshooting. It's uh, if the electrical component needs to be operating in a certain behavior, I need to go look at the data sheet. I need to read the technical documentation. I need to be able to figure out what it needs to do, how it needs to operate. I need to go talk to the stakeholders and the other people that it impacts, so maybe the PCB designer or uh, the electrical engineers, the mechanical engineers, whoever it is, management, and figure out like, okay, well, how are things supposed to be going? All of those things. I now have that experience, and it just feels very weird to look at myself and think like, okay, well, I'm not just completely incompetent and unqualified because I felt that for so long. But now I don't feel that anymore. And I it's it's a very strange feeling. Now, that doesn't mean that I feel like I am just the best, right? There's so much more that I need to learn. There's a lot of topics that I need to go over, and there's still so many different things that I need to improve myself on. That's not what I'm meaning. I'm just meaning like I don't feel completely incompetent. I don't feel completely just like ashamed, not ashamed of myself, but like I don't feel like I guess the word would be imposter, right? That I'm just someone who's going to try to become an engineer, even though I'm not qualified, and I'm just gonna. I almost felt like I was trying to trick the companies or something in the past. That even though I knew I wasn't qualified, I was trying to portray myself as qualified and then maybe trick them into hiring me as an engineer and then try to stay under the radar. Right, like I had all of those ideas in my head like okay, maybe I have to do this, like stay under the radar and try to just learn as much as I can, and hopefully by the time that they find me out, I will have like stay under the radar, and by the time that they found me out, I've kind of come up in the skill level to that point, which okay, I'm good now. I'm an engineer. I understand what's going on. And so that's what I was thinking. And now maybe that's what I did. Maybe I just stayed under the radar and um yeah, actually, I maybe so, because I was just like, when I first got my job, I was just trying to take up as much knowledge as I can, and I definitely wasn't the best engineer at that time. I was stumbling, and my projects were like I was putting in a ton of effort, but I don't know if they were that good, like high quality. And I was just like trying to learn as much as I can before anyone found out that I wasn't a good engineer. And so I just kept like going up, 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 up in my skill level. And then eventually I got to the point where I was thinking, huh, okay, well, I don't feel completely terrified anymore because previously, when I first got my job, I was very terrified. I was every single day, I was thinking, I was convinced I was going to be fired. Every day I thought, all right, well, they're going to fire me. And one of the things that actually really helped me was I kind of gave up. And what I mean by gave up is I kind of just said to myself, okay, well, if they do fire you, guess what? The only thing that you can do right now is take advantage of the day that you are given, right? You're not fired right now. So go and take advantage of this day that you're given. Learn as much as you can within this day. And then if tomorrow you are fired, well, at least you maximized today's learning. You've maximized what you could do today. And I just changed my mindset to kind of just like, I had to do that because I was just being eaten up with stress. I couldn't sleep. I was in a really bad shape because I was constantly worried like they're gonna find out that I'm a really bad engineer or I don't have these skills. And the other thing is like at the company, everyone else is like a senior engineer, and then there's me, and so it's like I don't really have someone to compare myself with. And so I was having all of those different thoughts, and then just day by day by day, it never happened. It was almost like kind of like walking on glass. Like you're on a bridge made of glass. You take one step, you don't know if the glass is going to break and you just fall right down. That's how I felt, is just every single day it was like taking a step. Okay, well, it didn't break. Didn't break. Let's try it tomorrow. Okay, okay, it didn't break every single day. And just looking down, and I would look at the job market and see all of my friends really, really struggling. And I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, so I see the cliff below me. That, yeah. So once I did that, I just like I never got fired, and I my skills kept going up and up and up, and eventually I got to the point where previously I was very scared of people asking me a question because I probably didn't know. And if an engineer asked me a question, I was terrified, terrified. And I was like, "Oh no, how am I going to present myself as not a complete bumbling fool?" And I was constantly worried about that. And whenever they would come and ask me a question, I would give them this huge long document about all of the details that I knew about this system and all of that. And then I can't remember the exact time frame. I think I made a YouTube video about it, documenting my progress. Um, but I remember I got to the point where someone came and asked me a question of the system that I was designing at the time, the embedded systems system. And I wasn't worried about it at all. They asked me the question, I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah. So it operates like this, it goes like this." And so I just started explaining it. And then afterwards, it's like, wait, normally I would be very nervous about this interaction, but I wasn't. And I was able to answer the question confidently. And I can't remember the exact time frame. I think it was maybe about 6 or 7 months into my engineering career, including the 4 month internship. So I did my 4 month internship, and then I have about a year and a half of full time work experience. So it's about maybe 6 or 7 months into my entire engineering experience. So I remember that was a pretty big, significant milestone. The other milestone that I hit in my experience within engineering was the time that I started to actually feel like I was contributing to the team. So I felt like, oh, I can do this. Oh, you need a driver for some I2C device? Okay, great. I can do it. Right? I didn't feel like, oh no, they're asking me to do this task. How am I going to deflect or uh like how am I going to get around this task? They gave me a task, I need to accomplish it. How do I do? No, it's just like, oh, well, I've done that before now. Or I at least I understand kind of how to do it. Let me try it. And then I can accomplish it. So that was the other one. I think that came about around a year. And then the other milestone was not a learning milestone, but it was a time frame milestone. So I said I had my 4 years of internship, which I count that as engineering experience because it was. But then I had my 1 year as a full-time engineer. So it was from April to April. So this is December. So December to April was my internship, and then April to April was my 1 year. Once I hit this 1 year as a full-time engineer, I feel like I had a lot of stress kind of melt away. And this is from going on and seeing that a lot of the qualifications for engineering roles say 1+ years of non-internship work experience. Now, a lot of them also say 2+ years, but at least I had some comfort in the fact that I've hit one of those milestones and now I'm eligible for jobs. So if I do get fired, I have a backup. I have options. I am not in the bad situation that I was a year ago or a year and 4 months ago, I guess I should say at that point. And so having that level of comfort and confidence that I wasn't in a bad situation put a lot of ease to my mind, that I was no longer this scared little rodent, kind of just like full of anxiety, and I'm gonna get fired, and then I'm gonna be out in that terrible job market, and then not gonna be able to get a job, and it's gonna be terrible. And then after, I was just kind of like, all right, well, I have a year of experience. If anything bad goes on, okay, that's gonna suck, but I think I can recover from it. Let's take today on for the day that it is, and let's move forward. So I was able to change that mindset that I had, and that was really, my stress levels went way down after I hit that 1 year of calendar work experience. And it was definitely really helpful for like my health as well. Because as I said, like I wasn't sleeping very good at all. And that's an understatement to say I wasn't sleeping very good. I was sleeping horribly. I couldn't sleep. I would wake up just terrified and not be able to go to sleep because my mind was just convinced that I was a bad engineer, that I wasn't good enough to become an engineer, that I was going to get fired and then I would never get a second chance. I would never get a second opportunity to get another job, all of these things. And I was just getting eaten up by these ideas. And so then once I hit that 1 year mark, it felt it it felt really nice. And then every single month now, it's like one extra month to that calendar year, and I just feel less and less stressed. So right now, I feel much more confident in not only just my work experience, but also my capability. So I feel much less stressed. Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to make this video kind of documenting my thoughts and feelings along the ride to become a software engineer, and kind of my work experience and what it's like to become an engineer. because I definitely feel like this is something that I don't see a lot on YouTube. I don't think a lot of people talk too much about this. Um, and so I just want to be honest about kind of like how my journey happened and some of the thoughts, emotions, feelings that I experienced going through from graduation to getting my first job and trying to maintain that job and some of the ideas that I was having. So, yeah, I mean, my suggestion would be if you're struggling with something similar, just take it day by day and try to say to yourself, like, okay, I know the only thing that I do know is that I have today to maximize the learning opportunity that I'm given. I'm just going to take that opportunity to try to learn as much as I can today. And if something does happen bad tomorrow, okay, well, at least I took the most advantage today that I could. I learned as much as I could, and I've set myself up as best I can for that that situation. And then, like what happened with me, management seemed to like what I was doing. Management seemed to like my projects. They then just kept me around, and my skills improved. I became a better engineer. I started learning more about like troubleshooting and management of projects, of talking to different stakeholders, and started becoming like a real engineer. So yeah, that's my experience, and obviously I'm still very young into my career. I've only been I'm not even 2 full years, including the 4 year or 4 months of internship. So I started in December, and then December to April 2024, and now it is September of 2025. So almost once I get to December, so that's what, like, uh 2 more months? Or not two, no, sorry. Once I get to April of 2026, there we go. Then I'll have 2 years calendar of full-time work experience as a full-time engineer. Once I get to December, that will be 2 years of actual engineering experience. So, I mean, those milestones are coming up, but what I'm meaning to say is just I'm very young into my career, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot more things that I experience, and I will try to document those experiences as best I can and try to help other people understand what it's like to become an engineer and what that journey is like. So if you are interested, subscribe to this channel. I would love to have you along for the journey. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I'll see you guys very soon.